Genders Games, haha! Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to move on to the second week of the 2014 World Championship Tournament. This week in Singapore, we will see Groups C and D battle it out. Let's kick things right off with Group C, shall we? Oh, Group C, the group of death. From Korea, we have the terrifying Samsung Blue. From Europe, the all-too-familiar Fnatic. From China, give it up for OMG. And from North America, the transplant team LMQ. These are all extremely strong teams that have had massive win streaks this past year. This is easily the most difficult group any one team could face this year. And no team represents that more than our Korean representatives, Samsung Blue. Remember how we hyped up Samsung White last week? Well, White took second in the region. These guys are in first. After having traded mid laners with White earlier this year, these two troubled teams turned into terrors on the circuit. With some of the strongest individual players and some of the best team play in the world, most are expecting these guys to pass the group flawlessly, just like White did. Fnatic you may well know as the Season 1 World Champions. These guys have been around the block, and though they've had their ups and downs, Fnatic has shown up really strong this year. With some strong, innovative play, tons and tons of experience to back it up, and not to mention their own skins hitting the live servers soon to boost morale, I'm thinking these Europeans might be looking for a second title. China's OMG has had a phenomenal year, only coming up short in the Chinese regionals this summer against the other two teams we saw last week. Additionally, they were one of the strongest teams at Worlds last year, even giving SKT a run for their money in the group stages. They have some extremely strong individual players, particularly in their mid laner Cool. They have some cohesion problems, particularly with choosing who their main support is, but if they can overcome that, these guys are golden. Oh, LMQ. These guys were originally a Chinese team, but decided to pack their bags and move wholesale to North America. They've done their best to integrate and seem to have learned to hybridize, taking the best of the Chinese meta and fusing it with the best of America's. They were on a tear for quite a while and looked like they might win the whole region, but much like OMG, were knocked back down a peg to third by the other two American teams seen here. While very strong, they've had some shaky plays recently, and historically were not very good against other Chinese teams. They've grown a lot since then though, so we'll just have to see. As for who's winning this group, well, after watching White play, I don't think I can even question whether or not Blue's getting out of here. The other teams are gonna have to step up hard if they want to shake that position out of Korean hands. Beyond that, it's really a bit of a toss-up considering how even everyone seems to be. I'm gonna have to put my support behind Fnatic. Much like TSM, if these guys can keep their heads in the game, they can give us some really strong performances, enough to even take out the Chinese. Now, Group D, our final set of 4. From Korea we have Najin White Shield. From Europe comes The Alliance. From Brazil, our second wildcard, Kaboom Esports. And from North America, Cloud9. This group I'm simply calling the Chaos, cause frankly, other than a few particulars, I have no idea how this set is gonna go. Najin White Shield are a bit of an enigma to me. They've had a very up and down season, really strong in the spring and doing extremely well in the regionals, but doing poorly for no clear reason in between. As arguably the weakest Korean team here, this is the other region's best shot to break out, but if these guys play like they did at the regionals, there's probably no stopping them here. Alliance, the European supergroup. Led by the famed mid laner Froggen, these guys are the Edward Gaming of the West and arguably the strongest team here that isn't from Asia. Featuring an all-star lineup with phenomenal team play, these guys dominated the European LCS and can take down the horde that is this group. Now, Kaboom! Well, I'll be cheering for them, but honestly I don't expect this to go too well for them. Already an underdog in their region most of the year, they gave very convincing performances to cut through the international wildcard tournament. Just as with Dark Passage though, really I feel like these guys are here just to get experience that they can bring back to their region, and maybe next year they'll come back stronger. But hey, here's hoping they surprise us and make the competition go kaboom! And finally, we get to Cloud9. I'll be honest here guys, I am a huge fan of Cloud9. Love these guys. Every player has style and is strong on their own, and when it counts, they show up as a team. Though their mid laner suffered from a collapsed lung early in the year, he's back in near peak performance. With an 80% win rate in the North American LCS, I hope to see Cloud9 beat their way through this competition. Now, as much as I love Cloud9, I'm not entirely sure they're the strongest team here. I'm gonna have to toss that over to Alliance. Those European powerhouses are a thing to behold. Najin White's shield, while strong, has been super inconsistent this year. If they play at their peak, they can win this, but I'm not gonna bet on it. I think Alliance and Cloud9 will make it out of the group, making for a truly international top 8. So, that's the scenario for groups C and D, starting on Thursday in Singapore. And those are my predictions based on what I've seen and heard so far. What do you think? Who will win? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you liked this format, and let me know what I can do to improve it. Subscribe for the rest of this series, and of course, other awesome content. Till next time, I've been Gin, and you've been watching me talk about a video game.